Hey guys, Did the Awesome here to give you another Monster Legends Guides, where we talk about monsters' moves, their rune sets, partners, all that jazz. Today we are looking at Son Cookie, who is the first legendary to get in the Fairy Tale event that's currently out. There's like 2 days, or like 1 day and like 16 hours remaining, or like by the time making this video anyway. So yeah, here's everything you need to know about Son Cookie. Between him and MMO Monster, which are the first two legendaries, like before, like the Mr. Scratch and Little Red Cap, this is the better one of the two. In terms of in terms of a sense of competitive play, he's the better one of the two. So don't feel bad if you feel like you get. I mean, like if you feel like MMO Monsters, like, oh, MMO Monsters probably way greater than Son Cookie. So in terms of moveset, Son Cookie is actually better in the sense of competitive play. Son Cookie is better. Oh, another thing before starting this video. In all honesty, in any guide, in any video, if you ever watch a video on a guide on any video game, this is included. Just take this into account. It's all opinion based. You shouldn't actually just like, oh, this is the definite answer. Any answer you think is wrong. This is my opinion. When I make these guides, it's totally just my idea, my thoughts, all out there. It's not like I'm trying to raise a debate on the internet, or just like I'm just giving you my stance on it, or like my thought on it and stuff like that. You don't have to agree with me and stuff like that. You just don't have to. The second thing is, before I begin this video, it's actually an important matter before I begin. Stats can be patchable, and that's kind of like a main idea in this video and stuff like that, or just an important point is stats can be patchable. This guy doesn't run on the best stats. A lot of monsters don't, but they have really good moves and stuff like that. Stats are patchable if you put really decently high runes on them. I'm not talking level 5 runes. Don't be cheap on the runes when putting runes on these things, or just the things that need to be fixed. If they're just really poor stats, you need to put really high-end runes, like at least 7. At the very least, put level 7 runes on them, and they run a lot better. Don't put average Joe runes on them. Put like really decent runes on them, like level 7, 8, or 9. 9 is usually the best kind of runes. But why? But Dib, what about 10 runes? 10s are expensive. If you can get a level 10 rune, congratulations, and totally put. If you really like this monster, put it on it. It's totally fine. The higher the rune, the more in all honesty, the more better it runs. Anything with level 10, if it has a set of level 10s, it'll run a lot better than something that runs a set of level 5s. That's just a given fact. Obviously, the higher the rune, the more stats you get out of it. Again, you're gonna say, "Oh, Dib," but if it has like a low base stat, then obviously something with a higher base stat would benefit more from it. Yeah, it would. But the point is, you can at some point you do like you can patch the stat and stuff like that. Like for power, there is a certain threshold of power. If you reach that power or pretty close to it, you do like enough damage to one hit stuff at that point. Like, so if you had like 2 level 9 runes, you'll one hit most things. In all perfect honesty, you'll one hit most things if you have like 2 level 9 runes on and stuff like that, or like 2 level 10 runes. Regardless, there's no discussion. Something dies. It's at that power of level. So there's like at a certain point, like probably like 25k or 26k, 27k. I don't know what the amount of damage you'll do at that point with like a 60 damage move, but something's gonna die. Something dies at that much power. Yeah. So yeah, stats are patchable. Just keep that in mind. At the moment, it's not having the best stats. It just isn't at the moment. So its power, 3,388. This is below the gospel power. It's not too low. It's not too low in terms of like. It's not too low, but it's pretty low. It's not. At least it's not like 3,200 something. I'd much rather have it be low to this point than any other low ability. It's almost close to 3,400, which is it's okay. It's obviously not the best power in the game, but it's there. I'd rather have it. If it gets any lower than this, it's concerning at that point. But it's all right. This is manageable. This is manageable power. It's not the best power in the game. You can fix this up with like level 6 runes or something like that. At least one more higher up than 5 or something like that. If you just want to start doing damage, like decent damage without having to set up first. This guy actually does very decent damage if you give him time to set up. If you're just running average Joe runes, that is. So his power is That is if you do the setup move before you do your damages and stuff like that. If you take the time to set up double damage, then this guy does some serious. This guy will start doing serious damage, but you have to set up your double damage first. His life is 25,635. This is a pretty decent life. Well, it's not. Well, I guess it's like man life. I guess it's not decent life. It's man life. So you don't want to really take too much hits with this thing. It can take a few hits, but not a whole lot. Don't bring this to like in the sense that you can tank stuff. That's not there for that. Its speed is pretty terrible. It's 3,157. I don't even know why this is its speed. It just is. And is this tampering? Yeah, it is. At least it's not a denier, though. I will say that this thing isn't a denier, really. It's more so like think of this guy as like an extra guy. You can kind of think of him like that. He's more so to do like he can do damage, but like yeah, he has like effects that can kind of count as because he does the AoE blind. He has an AoE blind and AoE daze. He has that kind of combo, and he does that really well actually. So this is a pretty poor speed. It may not matter too much though. It may not matter too much because you usually pick your fights right, so your denier usually denies the attacker before you go, so it's not too much of a problem. But yeah, you should totally put a speed rune on it. Just so you can like if you ever like go to a fight that you can outspeed it, totally bring it to those fights so you can set up your damage and stuff like that first. But yeah, I guess it would matter. I guess it matters in the sense that if you use this against an attacker that will go before this thing again the next turn, and you can't deny the enemy attacker, then that matters. I guess yeah, that would totally matter at that point. At that point though, if you can't like deny the attacker again, or if the other monster can go before this thing, you should totally do an AoE blind first. If it is in that situation, if you're just running this thing at level 100, you do that first. So there's a chance that he won't hit you. There's a chance the enemy attacker won't actually land a hit on you. And protect your comma and stuff like that. The speed can be counteracted with a buff of his. I'll talk about that later. But just keep in mind this is a pretty poor stat. It can be fixed, but yeah, it's just not a great stat at the moment. His trait is hardened, and this is actually a really nice saving grace for him. At least it's not immunity to daze. I will say that it's better than the most stuff they could have probably given this thing. It's just is. It would be really cool if they gave this thing immunity to freeze. I think a lot of people would use this thing if it was immunity to freeze. I think people would absolutely love this thing if it was, because it actually, again, it has like the blind and daze, which can help out in like freezing fights. That'd be really nice, but it's not. That's a fantasy. That's a dream. But it's not immune to freeze. I wish it was. That would be so funny. Cooking time. Oh man, I love the name of this ultimate and stuff like that. So basically, cooking time. It's an AoE stun. It's 65 damage. It does special damage. This is really nice. He does a lot. I will not lie. All this guy's damage is special damage, and it's fantastic and stuff like that. So yeah, this is an AoE stun. This helps a lot due to the fact like a lot of magic monsters aren't really immune to stun. They're more so leaning towards immunity to possession. And this is really great. And in all honesty, if you get this move in war, you're probably in a really, really great spot at the moment. Because you've now just denied everything. If your guy did like an AoE possession or like an AoE freeze, and they're all done and stuff like that. If this guy actually moved last, you can follow up with this move, and now everything's stunned, which is interesting. But yeah, this is a great this is a great ultimate. Really nice design. I usually don't talk about any skill in skill groups 1 because it usually doesn't make too much of a big eye opener and stuff like that. Usually it's a 50% move, low damage, and then just some miscellaneous buff or something like that. But there is one move worth mentioning, and that is Designer Ornaments. This deals low special damage to entire enemy. This is a 30 damage move. It's 25 stamina, 0 turn cooldown. That's the only thing about it. Special damage. It's a spammable AoE. With these kind of we usually don't see AoEs that are spammable or like they're not worth learning. Usually if it's an AoE, it's like a type based plus 25 damage and stuff like that. This is different because it's special based and it's 30 damage, so it's not too close to 35, but you know it's 5 damage. I mean, like it's 5 like power, like less than, you know, it's like 30 again, 30 power. But yeah, you can spam this. This is great in the fact that he also can give himself double damage. So like in the case of the event, you know, you don't want to do like the blinding and stuff. You just want to, if you're like Timeron or something like that, and you do have the double damage buff up, you can just spam this move. This is really great. In the case of the event, you got like double damage set up, and you can spam your AoE and stuff like that. Super Final Blow deals moderate special damage, 50% chance of stunning, and small chance of slowing down the target. Requires a cooldown of 2 turns. This isn't too great because you're taking a chance at this point. And this move specifically isn't all that great because it's a 50% chance to stun, and you have a really dirt low chance to like slow, like a 20% chance to slow. That is not the best thing in the game. Doesn't run too great. It just doesn't, like 40% never lands to begin with, but like 20% is pretty close to non-existent. Congrats if you do land this though. If you do land it like this in the video and actually changes the game, that'd be like such a funny vid to watch. If it actually like lands, oh my god, that'd be really funny. But yeah, this is not the best move. There's actually a better move to run than this. But you may run it just for giggles. You can run that if you want to, for the giggles. Christmas Ornaments deals moderate special damage to entire enemy, may blind targets, requires cooldown of 2 turns. This guy runs Will Razorface cooldowns, which is really nice in the sense that, you know, his AoEs are a 2 turn, like his daze is a 2 turn cooldown, his stun is a 3 turn cooldown. It combos really nice and stuff like that. Healthy Mistletoe gives life regeneration and stamina regeneration. I will say this move isn't a bad move, but you want to play around with your rune sets a bit. So this would actually, if you do run this Healthy Mistletoe and stuff like that, you want to run this on an extra guy set. In all perfect honesty, if you do, because you do you know, strength, life, and a speed, you put a life rune on it so it can take advantage of the regen. I will say the higher the life rune, like if you're not cheap on the life rune, the more you're going to get out of this regen in terms of life regen. Which, you know, it could be great and stuff like that. I don't know, honestly, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't run this move just because I'd leave my supports to do like the regen and stuff like that. If I even had like a regen, or if it came with damage or something like that, you know, like with like Plymouth. Plymouth is great for doing like AoE regen because he does damage too in the process to a single enemy. That's why I like Plymouth that so much, because of that, because he gives like life regen back to he gives life regen to everybody, and that can be a huge difference in a fight. Because we usually just usually in nature fights we only see like just the nature monsters healing, but it's a big difference if everybody's healing. If we can't focus down somebody right away, or like if we can't burst them down now because they're healing too, and they've like, if they deny us and stuff like that, they get like, if you get denied and stuff like that while they're healing that turn, like, you know, they get 40% back. Yeah, that's a huge, yeah, that's really important. we don't think people are healing, but they are. So yeah, I'd say leave it up to supports, but you can run this. You can run this in war. You can run this in a 2v2 war and stuff like that, or 3v3 war. I don't know if it would run too great in a 2v2 fight, but 3v3 I can see that happening on an extra guy set. I can totally see that. Mega Super Final Blow deals high. That's a really long name. Mega Super Final Blow. You gotta say like excitement, like yeah, like. Yeah, like manga. That's such a ridiculous name. Mega Super Final Blow. It sounds really epic too, though. Mega Super Final Blow. Deals high special damage, may stun target, requires cooldown. You may run this move. It is totally an option that you do. Just keep in mind of the stamina cost. This guy actually has really high stamina cost. Just keep in mind this guy does run on fairly high stamina cost. So maybe like the other monster, if you can run it with something that gives stamina back, that you'd like that a lot. But anyway, yeah, this is a 55 damage 1 turn cooldown move that also stuns. This is an option to run. Usually, like in war, you probably want to run this just because you can stun monsters. That's totally fine. Like this is an important ward tool. You can totally do that. It's totally an option for you. Pandulph's Ornaments. Deals moderate special damage to entire enemy team. May daze targets. Requires cooldown. This is really great and stuff like that. This combos well with Christmas ornaments, which does 35 damage and blinds everybody. Now he actually, like I remember I said earlier, he does the Will Razorface combo. He actually one-ups it. He one-ups it in the fact that he also he has the blind, instead of like just AoE stunning, he has AoE blinding, which combos with AoE dazing because of that, you know, minus 25% accuracy, minus 50% accuracy. They run at 75% accuracy. You can see the how great this is actually. I will say this combo actually runs really nice with attackers. I will say that there's very few monsters that can pull off this combo like Invarv and stuff like, because Invarv's, he's usually like an attacker and supporter that pulls this off the most, like Invarv and like this guy. I will say, like, in terms of attacker, this guy pulls it off well the most, but obviously supportive, just, Invarv does that, better, just in terms of like spreading the blind and like days and stuff like that. But this guy does a pretty good job at that because he does damage too. he hurts you in the process of blinding you and dazing you, and if you miss, you're in a really bad spot. if you, in all honesty, if you miss your attacks and he's still able to do stuff, you're in a lot of trouble. That's just not a good situation. I will say this setup is actually really great with dealing with magic monster. It is really great because usually what we see on defense is Malier or like a denier and stuff like that. So if you blind their denier, they're not having a good day. So you're usually like you may start off with Christmas ornaments. Given the idea, if you actually put really good runes on this, you could probably start off with this first, or at least it'll run better, you do more damage and stuff like that. But yeah, you could do this first, or like if you can't like chain chain deny and stuff like that, you could do this and it could save you, and stuff like that. Or like you could do the Pandolf ornaments first, since it has it's a longer cooldown and stuff like that, and usually deny that first turn. And then you can follow it up with Christmas ornaments. Now they're blind, so when the turn they actually get to attack, they're probably going to miss you. They have they have 75% less accuracy. They're less likely to hit you now. that's pretty chance based. Granted, that is a chance. They do have a 25% chance to actually hit you. But yeah, you have a chance to still be hit, but it's a very low chance. You're in a good position. You may not get hit during a fight. That's just the kind of the main idea with that combo, and it's a really nice combo. He runs it pretty well. And Invarv runs it in just a universal sense. Invarv runs this the best, just because he's tankier. But yeah, you get my point. This is still a really great combo, and he's one of the very few monsters that can pull it off really nice. Another bonus, he also one-ups the Will Razorface combo in the sense that they're both special damage, so he does damage to the magic monster too when doing this. Like he does damage to everybody. I mean, like whatever it is, like if it's a magic monster, it does not matter because you'll always do this. You always do normal damage to it. Over 9,000 gives double damage and hastes itself. This I don't know if I ever mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but he actually references Dragon Ball Z's Goku and stuff like that. So yeah, this is his buff move. This is the move that makes it like we don't think this thing will actually do damage, but it does do damage if it sets this up for if this is just a level 100 Son Cookie. We don't think this thing will actually do damage, but if it actually sets up with this move first, you're not in a good position. I mean, the enemy is. I'm saying the enemy is not in a good position if you get the time to set this up, because now you will you'll do respectable damage. Just double damage buff is always a nice thing to have on the attackers and stuff like that. Or like it's because in a war situation, you may never have a buffer with you at the moment. So this is a really nice thing. It gives you a boost in damage. You obviously do more damage. You have a possibility of one hit something. You have a possibility of one hitting something and stuff like that. Obviously, you have a much higher chance the more power you have. So if you had like 3 level strength runes, you will do some serious damage. you will more than likely kill something. If you have 3 I would say level 5 runes or levels. I mean, if you're just running average dual runes, if you do run that extra like strength rune instead of like a speed rune. If you just go full damage, you actually get the chance to actually move again. You're gonna do a lot of damage. You've probably killed everything at this point. You've probably killed. I'm not saying you you probably have killed everything at this point. Just like putting into the count the deny damage and stuff like that, you've probably killed everything at this point. But that's if you run that other strength rune for that last slot of yours and stuff like that. Alright, so the build for this guy. What you want to do, you want to run over 9,000, you want to run Pandolf's Ornaments, and you want to run Christmas Ornaments. Those are the moves you have to run. I will say the last move is solely up to you. Between Mega Super Final Blow or like Designer Ornaments. Those are your two choices. I can see most people running for Mega Super Final Blow in terms of a Team War set. That's totally fine. Do whatever makes you happy and stuff like that. That's probably the legitimate. If you wanted to like a Team War build, this is the Team War build I'd have you run. I'd have you run Mega Super Final Blow, Pandolf's Ornaments over 9,000, and Christmas Ornaments. This is the other set you may run. I call this the cookie build. The idea with this build is you are doing AoE damage. So what you want for the cookie build, you want over 9,000, you want Pandolf's Ornaments, Christmas Ornaments, and you want Designer Ornaments. This is totally a cookie build. It's based on the idea you're always doing AoE damage, and you're doing serious AoE damage at that point. So you always have to set up with this move. This is always your setup move. You always set up first before you do anything, any of your AoEs. That's just the thing you do first. Then you can follow that up with any of your AoEs. I'd probably imagine it being the Pandolf Ornaments first, and that's totally fine. Or the blind. Totally depends on your situation. If you need to blind something, you do this first. Do Christmas Ornaments first after you've buffed up. Or like if you do need to do it first, go ahead and do it. That's fine. Then you can follow that up with another. You could probably just follow it up with more damage. You could probably do more damage at that point, or like do over 9,000, then do the damage. You could do that. And anyway, it totally depends on your situation. So at the moment, is this guy a great monster? He's got great moves, but just keep in mind the stat where he's now at in stats is not the best. You do need to patch him. I will say that if you treat this monster with love, he will treat you with love. That can go with any monster that has poor stats. He is an old monster. He does suffer from being old. And what does that mean? It means like his stats aren't up to par with nowadays monsters. He has trouble with nowadays monsters and stuff like that. Yeah, he just does. He just does with nowadays monsters, like things like give AoE possession, and like Malier is a really great attacker and stuff like that. Not only is he immune to possession, but he does some serious damage too. I will say if Stone Cookie goes before Malier, you have a chance to survive. I will say that you'll have a chance to survive due to the fact you can blind him, but that's about it. In all honesty, if Stone Cookie can go before the attacker, he can blind them and keep them from hurting him and his friends and stuff like that. But that's basically it. Because he doesn't run the best as other attackers, is what I'm saying. He has great AoE presence. He has great AoE damage presence, but I'm just saying, comparing to everything else in the game at the moment, he's behind in stats at level 100. He needs to be you either need to put really nice runes on him at level 100, like don't be cheap on the runes at all, or B, you need to rank him up. You need to rank him up a bit. Let's see here. I would say. Well, this is what he looks like at 105. He's still a little bit. So he is slower than most attackers, even at 105. These are his stats at 105. He does a lot more damage when he's 105. That's a pretty decent attack power at that point. He's got really decent life too at 105. What are his 110s? 110. Okay, so if you get this guy to 110, if you actually put love into this thing, if you actually get him to 110, he will run phenomenally great. Does that mean you have to get him 110 to run him? No. It's either you treat him with love at 100 or 105. It's decent. 105 is decent. 105 is pretty decent. You still need to run the speed rune at that point, but everything else is pretty decent. Like he does a lot more damage if you rank him up at least once, or like his base power is more acceptable to level 5 runes at that point. I will say at 105 you can start running. He starts taking advantage more of level 5 runes, or he starts to adapt more to level 5 runes and stuff like that. But at the moment, you should put at least level 7 or like at least level 6. If you really want to be a little bit lower than that, level 6 runes at the very least. He just runs better at any level runes that's not 5. He runs better. He runs better with higher runes at where he's at right now. But stats are patchable. You can patch stats. He just runs better with higher level stats. That can be not higher level stats, higher level runes and stuff like that. That can be said with any monster in the game. That's all for Zone. Oh wait, partners real quick. I forgot to mention partners. Partners for this monster. You can pair this guy up with anything that can help it perform better. This gives like for example, I'd say a really nice idea is Totem. I say that for a number of reasons. One, he can patch up his power. He can give him more power. And another reason is he can do the AoE damage reduction. 30% plus the dazing. It's always a nice combo. It's such a great combo. You can pair this thing up with Timeron. That's also a great idea. It is a great idea because you can, with Timeron, you can keep damage off. You can also do the aging thing too, with like the aging team. That's the same concept with Totem. You can do like you can do power reduction too, like the aging move. Power pairs up so great with dazing. It's just really heavy. The damage is gone at that point. Keeping damage off, it's pretty important. Kalik, I'd say run Kalik with this thing. Kalik is a really great option. You can give it AoE stamina regen. Oh, excuse me. He can make Stone Cookie. She can make Stone Cookie resistant to freeze and stun. Just a bunch more that she can do for him. The buffer. In all sense, a buffer like Reptile. Reptile would go great with him just because he can give him triple damage. And buffers, like just anything in general, like buffers. Lux is probably his best partner. I will say that Lux is probably his best friend in college. Just because of the fact you can give double damage precision plus pretty much full stamina refill. That's pretty crucial and important. And that's everything you need to know about Stone Cookie. I hope this guy helped you with your video. I hope it kind of persuaded you to use him in war and stuff like that, or like give him a better thought of where he is at and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm Deb the Awesome. I'll catch you guys later.